The paint accessory in Windows is kind of like Rodney Dangerfield because it doesn't get a lot of respect, but it does come in handy. Even though I have Adobe Photoshop on my computer, I find that I still use the paint accessory if I want to do something like quickly crop a photo, or maybe you just want to squiggle something on a canvas. The nice thing about the Paint app is that it starts very quickly and it takes very little memory. Let's take a look. I'll click the right mouse button anywhere on the background of the start screen, go to All Apps, scroll over here, and there's Paint. Now there's two ways of opening it. I'll click it. So that's one way of opening it. Close it here for a second. As you might guess, there was a keyboard shortcut. And I'm going to press Windows key R, Windows logo key on the keyboard, and R for Run. And I'm going to type PBrush. And you can see I've already done that before on this machine. And now I'll just press Enter. So that's just another way of starting it up. Whichever way you like is fine. Since it's PBrush, let's look at the brushes. Click up here, and we have regular brushes, fountain pens, sprays, pencils, markers, crayons. I like the watercolor, so I'll choose that. And you see this dot, that's the size of my brush. If I want to change the size, I'll click up here. Maybe I'll choose one that's a little smaller. And you see we have two colors, color 1 and color 2. Or another way of looking at it is foreground and background. Let's say I want to change the primary color, that is the color that gets laid down when I use the left mouse button. I'll go over here, maybe choose orange. And I'm clicking with the left mouse button. And if I want to change the color 2, I'll click that, and maybe I'll make that, let's say, yellow. And again, I did that with the left mouse button, but when I drag with the left mouse button, I get that kind of watercolor. Notice that it kind of trails out of ink after a while, just like a regular watercolor brush. But when I use the right mouse button, that's the color 2 that comes out. And of course, at any time, I could change the size of the brush. I could change the color that I'm drawing with. Okay, so let's say I have this and I want to make it a little smaller. I might want to resize it. I'll go up here and choose Resize. And let's say I just want it half the width, half the height. So notice this is in percentage. I'll set that to 50. When I set horizontal to 50%, vertical also goes to 50% because aspect ratio is selected by default. Click OK. And now there it is, half the height, half the width. I'm going to undo that. I could press either Control Z on the keyboard. That will undo in every Windows program, or I can click the Undo button here. What if I'd rather crop it? Maybe I just want to get rid of those blank areas. I'll go up here to Select, choose Rectangular Selection, select this area here, and then crop. So suitable for your refrigerator. But as I was saying before, this is really more useful for photos than for drawing scribbles. So let's open one up. I'll go up to the File tab and choose Open. So you want to go to the desktop, and on the desktop there's our project files. Go in there, double click, and let's double click on the Chapter 6 folder. And you see we have a photo there called Sheep in Field. Double click that. And no, I don't want to save changes. This is kind of big. It's a big image, so we're zoomed in very closely. And one way to zoom out is go to the View tab and click Zoom Out. There we go. Maybe I'll zoom in a little bit. So you can see we've got all kinds of details, trees, grass, and sheep. And all I want is the detail of the sheep. So I'll go back to the Home tab, and I still have my rectangular selection tool. And I'm going to select those sheep, and I'll go up here and crop. Maybe I want to have some text in there. So I'll click the Text tool, and I'll click just down here in the lower right corner. And I'll turn on my caps lock, and I'll just type sheep, as though you didn't know. And maybe I'll reduce this. See, when I put my mouse pointer on the button on this little box here, I got a two-headed arrow. And let's get better formatting. I'll do that color 1, and yellow is good. And I can move this around. Now, as long as I don't come out of this box, I can continue editing it as text. And if I put my mouse pointer on the boundary here, I could move this around. So this is regular text. So this seems like a good place for it. But let's say I'm going to do this. I'll go back to the Home tab, and I'm done editing. if I click one of the other tools, maybe I'll click the pencil tool here, that now gets flattened. I can no longer edit that. Now I'm ready to save this. I don't want to overwrite the original sheep and field that I opened up. I want to save this under a new name, so I'll go up to the File tab, Save As. I'm not going to go over all the detail of what these different file formats are, but if you're saving an image, you're saving a photo, you probably want a PNG or a JPEG. I'll choose JPEG. File sizes of JPEGs tend to be smaller. There's that sheep and field we open up, and I'll just call this shape cropped. And click Save. There it is, and there's the file name. I can now take this and email it to somebody if I want. So for quick and dirty tasks like cropping an image, the Paint accessory does come in handy.